Welcome to Focus on Claims.
Hi, everyone. Ernie Bray here with another episode of Focus on Claims. And I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. It's with Gordon Pennington of Global Guardian Services. And Gordon and I have known each other for a long time. And I think he's got a great story to talk about here. And thanks for coming on today, Gordon.
I appreciate it. Like you said, I've known you a long time, so I'm glad to be here.
You got it, man. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, your story. And for the listeners out there, tell us how you kind of got, started. I know you went to Cal Lutheran. I had a short time there, and it was a great school. And that was something we shared in common there. But tell me how you kind of got, from college into the industry. So how's your origin story?
Yeah. So, I think I'm like a lot of people. I fell into insurance and then found out that I loved it. Right. So I started out as a procurement technician while I was in school and college. I got picked up by the government to negotiate weapon systems, and they paid for college. So it was like a full ride scholarship, so to speak, right? When you look at it. And after I got my degrees, I decided to put out a couple of applications and I got picked up by Allstate Insurance. And the reason I selected them is they offered about $1,200 more a month at that time than the next competing offer. And I thought that was a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So I fell into claims, and from there, I did time with Farmers Insurance and worked at their home office as an underwriting philosophy manager and also in the contracts department writing the product, and then got back into the third-party administration.
Okay.
VP of Claims.
I got a question for you. So back in college, when you were doing like the negotiations for like contracts, you said, what were some, as a person in college doing that while you were there, what was it like? I mean, what are some of the foundations that you learned in sort of that working world that you even kind of apply today?
I think that's where I really honed my negotiation skills, to be honest with you, was working there and really being prepped in terms of understanding the product and what your outcome needed to be and how to really communicate at all levels of an organization, right? Because as a procurement technician, I was talking to everybody from the COO and the financial side to the actual engineers on the other side. So it was an interesting time, but I learned, like I said, I learned a ton of negotiation skills there.
That's awesome. You were saying that you saw that you were getting like $1,200 more to work for when you got that posting for the job. Hey, was that back out? Would you see that in the newspaper, or was it through a job posting? Because when I was in the industry, I got out. I did actually started out doing some inside sales and didn't know what I wanted to do. I had done an internship with like the DA of Santa Cruz and just wanted to go in maybe law enforcement. Then I was working in the inside sales, and I saw a posting. It was like all the insurance companies were posting in newspapers. Was it similar to that for you?
I think it was a job posting. Yeah, I think it might have been on the internet, but I think it was a job posting, and it was for a personal lines claim rep.
Gotcha.
But back then we sat in bullpen seating. And so, you could learn so much because you were out on the floor. So you were listening to bodily injury adjusters negotiate. You were listening to property adjusters negotiate. And so there was this great osmosis learning where everybody knew a little bit about every segment of claim handling.
And that, I think that was very similar to my thing. When I did my interview, coming from an inside sales job and working a couple years out of college, the interview process I was put through with the carrier that I started with, I mean, they were saying you're going to have to be used to so many different situations. How are you going to handle stress? How are you going to handle an upset customer? And they were just sort of obviously testing me out to see how it, answer. And then I ended up having to deal. I worked in what they call the district office in Northern California, where they actually had customers come in. I sat at my desk and had to deal with people face to face. Was it similar with you, or was it, how'd that go?
It was a little bit of both. It was a lot of phone. Right, having claims over the phone, but there were clients that came in and they would meet for in-person statements or that type of thing, or they would come in to get their vehicles inspected on site, and you'd be able to go out and meet them and then take a statement.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that, like you were saying, in that bullpen approach where you had a lot of people around you. I found, sounds like you similarly did too, is you could learn from a lot of the expertise from other claims adjusters who's been around a while. There was that pool of knowledge. What would you say, when you got into the claims side, are the things that were really important to you that you learned for your growth?
I think first and foremost, the amount of training that went into learning how to analyze coverage and investigate coverage and make sure that you were applying the policy correctly from the onset, as well as how to ask open-ended questions when you're negotiating or investigating a claim, how to ask open-ended questions so that you could get all the details you needed during a statement in order to make the proper liability determination.
How do one thing I think, and I say this to people today, is the importance of this claims process. With all the technology out there, everybody, if you just read the news, you always see that, oh, automation, AI, technology is going to do all these things and streamline the process. And I don't disagree. But I feel, my belief is there's still that communication factor that when you're dealing with a policyholder, vehicle owner, you still have to have good communication skills. And I think in our day, I feel we were trained pretty much holistically on everything. You had to deal with all parts of the claims. And today, there's more of a siloed part of the industry. I think people are more segmented in what they're doing. Do you feel that the training you got, that whole approach, really was good to your development?
I think it was critical. I think we learned how to establish rapport with a client. And like you said, we're still a people industry. Someone suffered a loss. They're looking to be heard. They're looking to, express, whether it's about their injury or whether it's about just the mental, anguish that they went through in terms of having a loss, and they want to talk to somebody. So, AI is not going to replace that. It's certainly going to help with efficiency, but the people skills, that's something that we learned very early on in our claims careers. And I think it's critical.
I think it's great. Yeah. So, so you went from working for the large carriers and you got all that skills and growth, but then you moved over to the TPA world. What is the biggest difference in the TPA world compared to the carrier side? Because I know you're still handling claims for carriers and clients like that, but was that a transition you had to get used to, or what was the difference?
I think the big difference is when you're working for a large carrier, your client is simply that carrier. You're working all the time on the same product, the same type of claim, and it's always with the insureds who buy that product. For a TPA, we have many clients, and we handle many different segments of claims. So whether it's commercial auto, whether it's personal lines auto, whether it's construction, whether it's GL, we're handling all different lines of business. And so you really have to hone your skills and really understand all lines of business.
Hey, would you say that by working for a TPA, you kind of, in a way, actually have a lot more knowledge and skills that you're able to grow with over the years? Because I feel from our side in the business that we run, we work with hundreds of carriers. So we're seeing it, the whole process from different angles, where if you're at a carrier, maybe for a long time, you only see it from that carrier's perspective. So it actually gives you a different angle and actually help consult with clients better.
I think so. And I will tell you, each client, each carrier has a different set of metrics and a different set of data that they're tracking. And so it really becomes important, and we become experts in terms of really honing in on those metrics and delivering that data to them.
Yeah. And I think that's important, because a lot of different clients out there need that kind of customized service, and being able to give that, consultative approach is key. So now, hey, you're the CEO of Global Guardian Services. Very exciting. What are you guys doing there? I'd love to hear about the whole mission.
So we really established Global Guardian as a risk management services solution. And so this has been a tremendous year for us. We recently acquired Optima Special Investigation. Mm-hmm. And so we're providing both the third-party administration, we're providing special investigation, we have a subrogation group. So we really are branching out in terms of providing more services in terms of the solutions that we provide our clients.
Now, I saw the SIU acquisition. Tell me a little bit about that company and how what they can do and how that can, clients can potentially benefit from that.
So Optima SIU is a full service special investigation group, and so they provide everything from the regulatory reporting that's required to the required training for special investigation. They also do SABROSA or in-field work. And so they've been around well over 20 years. They were founded by a gentleman by the name of Ivo, and Ivo's still with us, working together with Heather and the team over there. They have a great reputation, and I've known them now for over 10 years.
That's great.
I've worked with them.
So now that it sounds like you guys got a lot of expansion going on, you have different aspects of what you guys can do in this sort of risk management side. What would be like a typical, wheelhouse client, somebody that would benefit from what you guys are offering? Like, what would be the standard type client?
So our clients range from the insurers, the larger insurers, to MGAs and to self-insureds. Quite honestly, we have clients in all segments, and what we do is we create a customized solution for each client, right? So we take a look at their program, what they need to drive, what they're trying to accomplish, who their target clients are, and then we build a claims process around that, present that to them, and make sure that they sign off on that, and then we implement.
Do you ever find how going into a client that they maybe have been done? Was it usually to do something in house, or maybe they're using a competitor of yours, or it could be a variety of different situations like that? Is it sometimes maybe they're trying to handle the claims in house, then they need somebody to come in and actually clean up the process, or what's it like?
I think it's a little bit of both. That's a good question, Ernie. I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes they come to us because they're not happy with the lack of customization that another competitor isn't able to provide, or whether it's data related and they're just not getting what they need in terms of reports or level of service. And then also sometimes it's in-house, and they're realizing that the environments are constantly changing, and that's the one thing about a solid TPA that we can provide. Each venue is constantly changing, right? Whether it's legal, whether it's just what's happening in the venues in terms of the types of claims and the types of whether it's fraud related or whatever else that you see in those venues. And we stay up on that. We're constantly doing that. And it's harder for some of the larger companies who try and do claims in-house to stay up with that information. And so they find it best to send it out.
Okay, that's great, because then they use you guys as a resource for that. Let me ask you this. So a typical client, let's say a trucking company or a transportation company, how would you work with them?
So what we do is we look at each one independently, right? So a client will come to us and ask us for a quote related to services. What we'll do is we'll analyze what coverages that they're offering. Some are offering first party property damage, some are offering cargo, some are offering all the above, including liability coverage. So we'll take a look. We'll look at what states they're operating in currently, and we'll create a process, a claims process for them. In addition, what we'll do is we'll analyze their policy to give them a feel for in terms of, whether or not there's any areas of the policy that they should be concerned about or that they might want to look at in terms of coverage and how it would be applied. And then we look at what venues they want to grow into. That's a big part of the service that we provide. We want to help them grow. And so what we'll do is we'll look at the different states that they want to enter, and we'll offer some insight into the states that, some states require diminished value, some don't, that type of thing. And so you're not
just actually just taking on the work they give you. You're looking at it from a approach. Hey, if you're trying to expand, we're going to help you with the legal requirements into these other states and the things that you need to be ready.
Yeah, our philosophy really is we want to be long-term, partners with our clients. We're not looking for short-lived relationships. We really want to grow with the client. And so we offer them as much information as we possibly can to ensure that they grow successfully.
That's great. So what other kind of business lines do you guys cover at Global Guardian?
So we cover just about every line of business with the exception of work comp. And so we handle everything from GL to construction, related matters to property claims, you name it. We generally have experts in it. And our staff is unique. We have a lot of tenured folks on our staff, 20, 25 years experience. We have some JDs on staff who handle our professional liability programs and that type of thing. So our staff does offer a wide variety of knowledge base.
You guys work with like any counties or cities or municipalities at all?
So that's something that I want to start establishing again. It's definitely something I've done in the past. I was in charge of a large company that primarily focused on municipality work. We do some small municipality work now, but we want to get back into it.
Yeah, is that different than the basic other kind of companies we talk about, or do they usually have their own processes? And when it works with like a municipality or city or a county, how do they usually work? Do they use you on a per claim basis, or sometimes do you come in and actually handle the entire claims process?
So it's the entire claims process normally, but it's for a small specific venue, right?
Okay.
So it's a county or it's a city or it's a regional area. So it's not going to be nationally based, right?
Okay.
Where, if you're handling trucking, let's say, or you're handling a property program, they might write in multiple states, and so it's a little different. It's very targeted.
So when you go in and you're, talking about all the solutions and services you offer with a client, and we talked about how you kind of have a consultative approach. What is there any specific challenges that they seem to be the same all the time? You hear from clients that really is kind of endemic throughout the industry. Is there a continuous problem they're having that you hear about?
I think it depends on the line of business, but a lot of it is related to expansion and understanding the venues that they're getting into.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest hurdle that I think a lot of the producers face as they start to grow their business out, because every state is unique and every venue within those states. You have states like California, Texas, Florida, where each multiple venues, New York, multiple venues within those states, and each offers its own complexity. And you have to have you have to have a partner in terms of your third party claims administrator who understands those venues.
Yeah, that's key. So Gordon, as we wrap up here, tell me a little bit about how can a potential client, a customer, get a hold of you if they're interested in working with you? What's the best way to get a hold of your company and reach out to you?
So definitely on our website, you can submit a request to have a conversation with us. You can submit a request for proposal. Our phone number's on there. You can certainly reach out, dial me directly. Myself, Mike Gonzalez, Lee Baker, our executives on the team that are available to assist.
And we'll definitely put that contact information you just mentioned there at the bottom of the video after the podcast is over. But, I know we talked about claims in that industry, all this stuff, but tell us a little about Gordon, the person. What do you like to do in your free time? What's some of the fun things you like to do?
With the position that I'm in, I travel quite a bit. So when I get some free time, it's about barbecuing. It's about cooking in the backyard. I've got 4 kids and my wife. And so we like to spend a lot of time together. We love to go out to the movies. And so we're generally either eating or hanging out together.
That's awesome. Family time is key, and that's the thing about this claims industry. It can be such a busy industry, like you said, with all the travel that you do. We got to take time to kind of decompress sometimes out there. I can tell you that,
And the family has a tendency to keep you grounded. That's what I would say. They're
very important.
Reminding you who you are. So,
yep. Well, hey, Gordon, I want to thank you for coming on today, and I'm really excited about what you have going on, and excited to see how the company expands and grows. And we'll have to do a check-in podcast in the future sometime as you add more. It sounds like you have so many new things going on. As new things come up, would love to hear from you. And one other thing I'd like to ask you too is one thing I'm going to be doing is, if you got industry trends and updates about the industry, we'll do some short shows where we can hear what you see going on in the industry, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and I think that would be great to have in the future.
I'd appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you. ACD has provided a level of service to our clients that we appreciate. You've been a partner of ours for a long time, and we appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot, Gordon. Hey, again, thanks for coming on today, and have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Look forward to it. Take care, bud.
All right.
This has been Focus on Claims with Ernie Bray, President and CEO of ACD.